I cheated on my girlfriend. I told her to let bygones be bygones. Originally wanted opinions on AITA, but the more I think about it, the more I believe that it needed to be said. My 25-year-old girlfriend and I, 27, have been dating since college. 2 years ago I flirted with another woman at a friend's party. I will fully admit that I was 100%, unequivocally in the wrong. There is no excuse for being unfaithful, and, as soon as I did it, I felt like a bad person that others would see as such. Immediately the next day, I came clean to my girlfriend and she was understandably devastated. After almost a week of apologizing, crying, and begging, we decided to continue dating. There were, however, some conditions to our continued relationship that I fully acquiesced to. I gave my girlfriend unbridled access to all of my electronics and social media. She had full permission to look through anything she wished at any time. I almost entirely cut off contact with my female friends with the exception that I'd be able to reach out for special occasions, happy birthday / congratulations on your engagement / etc., or for specific purposes, such as when I contacted a female friend who was working at a company that I was interested in lateraling to. While I didn't feel the need to elaborate to people who were just acquaintances, I did send texts to my closer female friends explaining the situation. They were mostly understanding, not of my cheating, but of my distancing from them, and that was that. Our relationship took a while to heal, but it did eventually get better. The catch was that whenever we'd fight, my girlfriend would bring up my major, past transgression. If I ever got a text from a female friend, no matter how innocuous it be, my girlfriend's reaction would range from suspicious to full-blown stalker, detective mode. And honestly, for the longest time I was okay with this. I'd messed up in a major way, and if this is what it took to maintain our relationship, then so be it. I guess I'm only human, though, and it's slowly starting grating on my nerves. Since that party 2 years ago, I've never done anything remotely close to betraying my girlfriend again, but it would still be her trump card for our spats and justification for her continued suspicion. Everything blew up a couple days ago when it was my birthday. I had a low-key event with just my closest guy friends, their girlfriends, and my girlfriend. We all had great time, hung out until pretty late and went home. However, when I woke up, my girlfriend was angry. Like, as angry as I've seen her in a long time. I asked her what was up and she threw my phone at me. There was a text from one of my former, close female friends that read, "Hey, happy birthday. Hope you had a great one. Miss you, heart." She was someone that I'd played a lot of League, a type of video game, with. The only other text between us was from 6 months ago when I sent her a happy birthday message. I really regret reacting the way I did in that moment, but I told my girlfriend that at some point she had to let go of the past. I was doing everything I could to rebuild trust in our relationship, and she couldn't keep instigating things over what was quite literally nothing. She didn't really respond and just packed some of her things and has been staying at her friend's house. It is what it is. Comments. 1. Yeah. Why my philosophy is to just call it quits after cheating. It really hard to ever fully trust someone again even if they follow all the stipulation as Op GF gave after the betrayal. Op in your GFIs you will never be full trusted because if you could cheat once what really stopping you from doing it again is the idea or concise and it not healthy for either of you to can't. The relationship I don't usually advocate for breaking up and roll my eyes at all the Redditers that advocated for any slight inconvenience say breakup, but in this case I would say call it. She always gonna have an issue trusting you which is valid as cheating being a lot of insecurities out of people and can for some not all change the way you see a person and make her uncertain always marking your actions with a question mark. Because of the past digressions. I say separate let her grow and you as well and then if it so be you find your way back to one another fine otherwise staying will only grow any resentment she has for you and you're for her always questions you even though you know you would never cheat again. Because obviously right now she doesn't really know that and it may be hard for her to ever fully know that. 2. Agreed. I also think that it's a bit selfish of Op to continue to try and have his cake and eat it too, nuking the relationship and then still begging for her to stay. Although it may have seemed like a good idea at the time, allowing her to cross those boundaries of always stalking everyone that messages you is a huge mistake on both your parts. Having boundaries is healthy and continuing to do this just fuels her insecurities that you caused. The longer she stays in this relationship the harder it'll be for her to move on and have any chance of a healthy relationship when you inevitably break up. I heard something from a few experienced therapists in podcasts regarding cheating. When you confess as a cheater, you're being selfish and trying to remove the guilt that you mentioned you couldn't even tolerate for a day. Instead you pass that onto her in the form of a deep insecurity that is 100% because of you. You should have just ended the relationship and lived with that because it's not her guilt or pain to feel. It's yours. Not everyone agrees with that view, nor did I at first. But I think it's true. You've already cleansed yourself of holding onto that by outing yourself and doing whatever she asked, even though that's not sustainable for any healthy long-term relationship. She's still dealing with the fallout years later and has instead grown to become even more suspicious and less trusting of you. 3. It takes 3 to 5 years to heal from infidelity, with at least you two going to a couples therapist, and ideally individual therapists as well, for her to work on her fear and feelings of inadequacy, and for you to work on whatever allowed you to cheat in the first place. Right now you are not doing everything you can to regain confidence, and it was literally nothing for her. He wounded her as surely as if he had picked up a large object and hit her repeatedly. Sure, you didn't mind doing that to her, but she's the one left bleeding and suffering. You apologizing and pulling back from having female friends doesn't fix that. The fact that you can say, "It was literally nothing," shows that you have no idea what you did to him. You didn't post on AITA because you have enough self-awareness to know that most of the responses would call your attention to what a huge fool you've been about this. You two have not handled this healthily. All you've done is put band-aids on things. You've overcompensated to try and reassure her, and she's not had any real help in healing the terrible emotional injury you did her. Your relationship is bleeding out as a result. For you to tell him to get over the past after what you did to him is silly. Her constantly bringing it up in arguments is not entirely fair either, but it sounds like you resent her for having to take steps to make up for what you did, and she's fully picking up on that. She's also not been able to do much actual healing, because when you've been stabbed through the heart the way cheating does to you, sticking band-aids on will never actually help real healing. If you really care about understanding what you did and the damage it's done, even if you two don't end up getting back together, I recommend you at least read How to Help Your Spouse Heal from Your Affair, a compact manual for the unfaithful, by Linda McDonald, because cheating is rarely something you only do once if you don't truly tackle what allowed you to justify it in the moment it originally happened. Doing something wrong once and never dealing with it just means it's easier to do it a second time, and a third time, and so on. However, considering how resentful and callous you're being about truly cleaning up the damage you've done, she's probably better off without you. Maybe just make the breakup official. 4. Why she's never going to fully trust you again. That's just the result of being betrayed by someone you love. You should have let her go. No matter how long ago it was, it's living in her head every day, and every seemingly innocent action to her is going to have a deeper connotation that she thinks is you being sneaky. She's not going to get over it the way you want her to, so if these quarrels are a deal breaker, then move on and don't emotionally complicate your next relationship. EP. I hate on Reddit how everyone loves to jump to breaking up / divorce / no contact, but this is one of those times a breakup makes sense. 5. You cheated. Oftentimes, relationships are difficult to mend when one or both parties have been unfaithful. In this case, you were the unfaithful one. Your girlfriend should leave. It is evident that she does not trust you and she is still hurting from what you did. Rightfully so too. Some couples make it work after cheating, but it takes a lot of time and effort. Reassurance and patience. Your girlfriend deserves someone who she can trust. You're right, she should move on and heal by herself. Then she can find someone else and start a clean slate. 6. Agreed, you broke her trust and she tried to forgive you, but she hasn't forgotten and definitely doesn't trust you anymore. If it's gonna get on your nerves that she doesn't trust you because you broke her heart and ruined the trust, then go build trust with someone else instead of getting annoyed that your current person doesn't like you that much anymore.